Hey there, my name is Zed, and welcome to Laysara Summit Kingdom. So this is a game that's been on my radar for a while now, and it just recently released their early access. So Laysara is a city builder game that has you building vertically, and if it's any indication from the early previews, it is a very beautiful looking game, so I'm hoping that the gameplay holds up. So let's go ahead and jump in and try out the tutorial level to see how this game plays. The premise of the game is that the kingdom of Laysara in the valley has been covered by this mist, and they've been forced to go upward to try to get out of the mist and hopefully build some sort of altar at the top of the mountain to pray to the spirits to get rid of it. So taking a look around, it looks like we've got this starter mountain to go with. And it already looks like we've got several of these plateaus that we're going to work with. And I'm guessing each of these is going to be a region of the city as we build up. And tutorial's guiding us through a few things. So it looks like we need to build some sort of market to begin with. Now it's kind of interesting compared to other games, like other city builder games. I didn't need anybody to build it. It was just like instantly placing it. And it looks like this place needs workers in order to function. So we've got some upkeep. It looks like we have some gold supply that factors into it. And we've got 0 out of 8. So the tutorial is having us build a few different houses. And I notice it also makes note of lowlanders. So I wonder that if that refers to the different regions, like if we have workers for each region. Let's go ahead and add a few of these homes in here to get up to 32 workers. Got our workers, and let's see, what do we have to do next? It looks like we need some shrines. And you can see that it has this radius effect. So you can see most buildings, it looks like they have some sort of area of effect based on the road network. So we'll probably need 2 of these shrines in here. It looks like homes start getting better and better as you meet different criteria. So for example, you need a praying place, additional food, more food, more food, and then you can upgrade. So for example, one of the things that we're going to look at next is a chicken farm, which has to be in range of the market. And that chicken farm, it looks like, has to deliver food to a particular area. Now, the more I'm playing this game, is it feels a lot more puzzle-like compared to other city builder games, like Timberborn, which is very much a simulation. Here, I'm placing buildings pretty quickly. It seems the only limitations are so far are workers and cash. So next step is we're going to take a look at making flour out of barley. So in this case, we need 2 things in the production chain. We need barley production and then the mill. So let's see, how big is the mill? Could we put that pretty close to the market? I kind of wish there was an easier way to transport where these fields are going to go. So let's see, we're going to transport barley, and they also have hay, which we don't care about. But that is kind of tedious, having to click on each of these. And then we're going to send whatever it produces over to the market. And now that these homes have multiple foods, they have eggs, they have flour, a praying place, we can go ahead and upgrade them. It doesn't look like it costs anything either. I'm guessing this just adds additional residents per home. And we have nice little upgraded homes now. And just like I was thinking earlier, looks like we've got different districts. So we have kind of the lowlander food production district, and now we're going over into the artisan district. And it looks like you can just create a bridge directly from one to the other. So what is new in this artisan district? So we have a similar constraint. We need 40 artisans living within range of a food market, and it looks like they get a different type of house, an artisan house. So we'll do something similar. We're going to go ahead and place down a food market, up down some farms, as well as some chicken farms. And then we'll send all of those over to the food market again. Now that we have the market, we'll go ahead and put some of those new artisan homes in. Now it looks like for the artisans, we've got other things I can do. So it's directing me over to a copper mine. And I'm guessing this is something that only this district can do, not over the lowland district. And this is interesting. You get the mine and it has to be connected down to someplace down in the city. And you get at least a little bit of choice into here. Let's try this. We're going to take the copper mine, take it down, and it's going to need apparently some yaks to operate. I'm guessing it needs yaks to be able to power the wheels. Now, this is interesting. Even though the yaks are going to be used over here, up in the highlands, I do have freedom to build the yak production wherever I want. So you can see this case, I built it back in the lowlands district. And unlike the other resources that have to be configured for transportation, this one can be built anywhere, and they just kind of go into the global pool with workers. So I guess yaks are like a population, and they are employed or unemployed. So it looks like we need to build something, a commodity supplier, which I'm guessing is a little bit like general goods. And I'm curious, do we have restrictions? No, we don't really have restrictions on where we could put it. So one of these could exist between the districts. So that is kind of interesting. Let's put it here to get a good coverage of all those homes. Now, before we can actually distribute anything, it looks like we need to convert the raw copper ore into copper ingots or something before we can distribute it. So let's take a look. What do we got? There is a coppersmith. So we can go ahead and put that right there. The ore goes to the coppersmith, and then the coppersmith will send it to the production. And it looks like we need more yaks. That's interesting. It will always place extra workers for you. So we'll go back to the lowlands, throw in yet another yak. And I can see where this game starts becoming a little bit of a puzzle game, because you're really just trying to figure out where to fit everything into this really restricted space. Now, what the tutorial is pointing out is that some buildings have enough resources to power multiple buildings. So you can see here when I click on this mine, it's producing 4 ingots. And we've got a coppersmith that is receiving 4 out of 1. So it is receiving way more than it's actually consuming. And what the game says is if you want to distribute basically those resources between multiple buildings, they've got like another little puzzle piece called a carrier post. So it looks like a carrier post accepts resources, and then you can configure multiple buildings to get those resources. So you can see in this case, I've got 2 separate coppersmiths that it's being sent to. And then both of those coppersmiths are sending their supplies directly to the trading post. And now it looks like we're going to get into the actual vertical aspect of this game. So it looks like you can build upward with this very vertical walking shaft. Is that stairs or a ladder? I don't know. It looks like it may be a conveyor belt. You just grapple on and get pulled up there. Now, this explains something that we saw earlier on with the yak building. It's saying here that there's certain buildings that get treated differently based on the zone that they're in. So it's another piece of that puzzle. So I'm guessing there's going to be a high zone, a middle zone, and a low zone. And for example, when we looked at yaks, you can see here that they prefer the low zone. But it looks like bees, this other building that they want us to produce, they are optimized for this kind of middle zone. So we'll go ahead and place 2 of those down there. Now, I wonder if we're going to have to build another food production up here, because that seems a little bit tedious if we're going to have to do that for every one of these zones. And the next step looks to be introducing some sort of research mechanic. So I'm guessing there's all these other buildings that we haven't yet reached, and we need to unlock them. So the way we do that is through something called an academy and staffing it with monks. We'll put the monks down here in the artisan district. And the academy needs some monks. And it looks like they get their own house too, just like everybody else. So the homes, like the other ones, they also need food, but it looks like they need food, and then different forms of enlightenment. So I'm guessing that's going to be different types of like praying zones like we saw with the other buildings. We need a total of 38 monks. So that's a lot of different monk buildings. And we might have to produce additional food for them too. Now, it looks like we unlock research just by the act of having the academy. So the act of building the academy gave us 1 level of research, which gives us a research level here. And it looks like that immediately unlocked all these new buildings. So as soon as we unlocked research level 1, we get something called a cart post. And as it says here, the cart post is apparently not limited by the distance of transportation. So unlike these other buildings where this could only transport goods within a certain range, I'm guessing it can go all the way down there. Question is, does it have to be built down here or up here? Now it says that it can send over long distances, so I'm gonna guess it's gonna go up here with all the honey. We'll try that. I'm gonna send everything, all the honey, over to the cart post. And then let's see, can I send that down here? Yep, that looks like it did the trick. Now, I noticed also you don't have to wait for any of these goods to be transported. Like you see these people walking back and forth, but it looks like that's just flavor animation. Like the act of me configuring something immediately got the lines flowing and the goods to be present. Now with those goods present, we can now upgrade a lot of these homes. Go ahead and upgrade all these guys, give them some better living conditions. We've got some fancy monk dormitories now. Let's see, what is up next? So it looks like the next step is to collect taxes. I'm guessing this is to do with our revenue. So when we started the game, we kind of ignored it because we're getting this token $400. But as we've been building, we've been using more and more of that. But it looks like now it wants us to collect taxes, or what it calls donations, from our citizens. And it looks like that's done through a special building called a donation spot. And they also have a range. So let's see. We're going to go ahead and place 2 of these down. We're going to put one down over there. And we're going to put one over in the other lowland district too, I think. That should give us coverage of both regions. Okay, so apparently they're introducing the risk of natural disaster now. So it looks like you can build a forester that can create a row of trees, and that's going to be what stops the production, or that stops the avalanche and gives you this downstream avalanche protection. So if we do something like that, we now have coverage downward. And then we'll go ahead and put that trading post down below everything else, so they're nice and protected. And it doesn't look like this is connected to the rest of the city. I do see this road going down there, so maybe that's just assumed that it's good enough. Can we build a bridge? Oh, okay, there we go. That's what we need to do. There's our bridge. What do we need? We need additional yaks. So we'll throw in yet another yak farm down in the lowlands. Okay, perfect. So the trees block the avalanche. So it looks like we're going to have to kind of keep an eye out for that type of structure in the mountains. I wonder if they're going to have other types of, risks like this as the game progresses. And it looks like that wraps up the tutorial level. And from here on out, it looks like these are the next to the mountains. So for example, if we looked over here, we've got no green zones for this one. We've got green zones limited. Mount plenty. But I think that's going to be it for this initial playthrough. We got kind of a taste of the game, and I'm really looking forward to continuing this. So I think maybe in a follow-up playthrough, I'm going to pick one of these levels and we're going to play through. The game is definitely a little bit different than I initially thought. There is not as much simulation as I was thinking. It feels a lot more like a puzzle and logistics game, where you're trying to fit these pieces in to see how you can do it, and then making sure you have enough space for all the different buildings and connecting them. It does have a very cozy feel to it, so as you're playing, it's fairly relaxing. I don't really see much threat. So in that respect, it seems like a pretty chill game, and I have to say, it is very beautiful when playing it. Like the art style, the visual style is really well done. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to see more of Laysara, feel free to comment below. And with that, I hope to catch you next time.